Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the Town of Somers Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The date is January 15th, 2019. Denise, would you please take the roll?
Ms. DiPolito?
Here.
Mr. Gio?
Here.
Mr. Hardin?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Mr. Santoroni?
Here.
Chairman Canestra?
Here.
Thank you.
We have with us this evening two guests, two scouts that have volunteered to start the Pledge of Allegiance for us. If you two gentlemen would please come up and lead us, that would really be great.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go right into the agenda. The first item is that of John and Diana Rice. Is someone here to represent the applicant? Ma'am, if you would please just come up to the microphone, just give us your name and address. This is an application for a 6-foot area variance for a pre-existing shed that was recently added to, located in an R80 residential district at 21 Orchard Hill Road in Katona.
That's right. My name's Diana Rice. And did you want something else from me?
And your address is?
21 Orchard Hill Road.
Okay, great, thank you. Could you briefly describe your application for us?
Sure. When we purchased the house in '07, there was a tool shed in the back, and then beyond that, there was sort of a carport where it was just a roof over cement with some poles on the four corners to keep it standing. The previous owners stored their equipment there to take care of the lawn, so there was a number of sort of hand-pushed lawnmowers that had all rusted out from the bottom, and they weren't functioning when we bought the property. So after about a year or two of hiring professionals to take care of the property, it's about 5 acres, we thought that was too much of a burden for us financially, so we decided to buy our own tractor. And because of that, we felt that we needed to cover that area and provide shelter for the tractor. That was the recommendation from Arrowware where we purchased it. So we built onto the pre-existing structure just enough space to fit in the tractor. Okay. And that's what we're hoping to do. And now we're selling the house, and this, of course, is an issue because even though we followed the line of the old building, it had been grandfathered in, but it's still in. I know it's not good. It's 9 feet from the property line, and I think the requirement's 15. So.
Right. And I'm looking at the survey here. I'm assuming the shed is indicated because there's a couple of different boxes I see here. I assume it says wood shed. That's what we're talking about here. Is that right,
No,
Tom?
the wood shed is just beyond the structure. I think it says tool shed. Do you mind if I get my copy and take it?
No, if you could, please. Yeah, because I was a little confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It says one story
Frame
frame
shed.
shed
Okay,
and then
right.
roof overhead.
Okay, this is the one we're talking
and
about then, the
roof
one?
overhead.
Roof overhead, 1-story frame shed. Okay, and there's 2 concrete steps, it looks like, going up to it.
The
Yeah.
wood shed is just like a bin.
Okay.
Okay, that is the building. Because there's something called a wood shed, but that's not a real structure of any kind.
No, that's just to hold chopped wood.
Okay, so that's what I was confused about. Okay.
Yes, this says it is a tool shed. I'm not sure what it says here. It looks like.
Okay, it looks like it says roof OH, which I assume is
Yes.
overhang.
That's correct.
And
That's
then
what I meant.
1-story, I guess, frame shed,
Frame
maybe, or
shed,
freestanding shed?
That could be it, freestanding or something like that. Yes.
Okay.
And the addition to the existing shed was enclosing that overhang, that carport type thing you described?
Yes, exactly. And it goes on about 6 feet greater than that, again, for the purposes of fitting the equipment, the piece of equipment.
And is there was there a concrete floor
There was
here?
concrete floor.
So it's a slab floor?
It's already a slab floor. It was already that, yes.
Okay.
And there was also already electric out to the tool shed, if that's important. I don't know.
Okay.
So Tom, regardless of this addition, this shed was would be at issue anyway?
Yes.
Was it pre-existing non-conforming, or was it never approved, probably?
I don't know how far it dates back. Do you know the age of this shed?
I do not
The original
know, but
building?
it looks old. Just judging from the windows that were used in there, they're not modern at all.
So we're addressing it now, though, so, yeah.
The house was built in 39, if that helps.
Oh, okay. And on the property to your north, it says now or formerly of Dennis A. and Paula C. Pastina.
Yes.
How close is their house or a structure they might have on the property to that?
Yeah, not close at all. Their house is huge. It's about twice as big as ours, but it's it's on a par with ours in terms of its closeness to Orchard Hill Road.
Okay, so it is a
The
fairly...
setback is, yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. And this is a one-story shed, so what's the height on this we're talking about here?
It's about a story and a half. Again, there's a.
That's
just
with
to-
the roof.
That's with the roof, yes. There isn't a second floor to it. I don't want to.
Right, but the roof, of course,
The
there's a
roof
peak,
pitches,
Maybe
yes.
15 feet tall, something like
Yes,
that?
that sounds
12,
right.
15?
No more than 15.
Okay. In this shed, there's no plumbing of any kind?
There's no plumbing. no.
Okay. It's just electric to the shed?
Yes.
Does it have a door?
It does, yes. Yes, a double door that we close in behind.
I see concrete steps, so
I don't know of any concrete steps.
there's no concrete steps there?
There's, oh, I see what you're talking about. Yes, yes.
There are two little steps there?
There's two little steps to get in.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we don't enter it that way, so I don't think about those, but they are
Okay.
there, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No, we're looking at this guy right there.
Yeah, no,
And the setback is 15, Tom. We've got 9, so we have to approve 6 if we're
6
to
foot,
approve
yeah.
this. Okay.
And with the variant, if we grant a variance for the setback, then this would be a completely legal shed? Or,
So we do permit and a CO.
so that'd be a
Based
building
on-
permit for the extension?
The, probably the entire building, I haven't been out to the site yet.
But you'd have to inspect it,
I'll-
make sure
I'll
everything
check the
complies.
assessor's records to see how far it's, if there's any record there, how far the shed, the original shed dates back.
But you said you built it in the footprint of the pole barn, basically.
We did, but we went beyond it in order to fit the equipment in, because it wasn't long enough.
I see.
Now, even if we approve this, you'd have to do a C of O on this, inspections have to go forward and
Yes.
all that kind of good stuff. The electrical and whatever we got here. Okay.
And the neighbor's property, you said their house is closer to the street. This is wooded back here or lawn?
There's lots of big, tall trees. I would be shocked if they could see this from their house. Anyway, but they're never back there.
Okay.
I mean, their property's like ours, it's sort of long and narrow.
yeah, that whole area is all wooded and, you know.
These are fairly big lots. This is about
Yeah.
4.7 acres for your lot.
That's right.
And this is an R80 district, so 80,000, almost 2 acres lots per home. Any other questions of the applicant? Ma'am, anything else you wish to say at this point in time, before I go to the audience about this?
No, I don't think so, thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak in regard to this application? Questions, comments?
No.
Nothing else.
Yes, sir, if you want to come up, just give us your name and address.
I just like to know where
Dennis is here.
Dennis is here.
Yeah.
And you're right here.
Yeah, this is our house, and this is Orchard Hill over here.
I used to live on, my name is Nicholas Lupinacci. I used to live on Orchard Hill Road, and I was the builder of Dr. Pastena's house, the one that you just mentioned.
Right.
And I know her house like where she lives. As far as a person in Somers, I don't see any problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, any further comments of the applicant? Any discussion we want to have amongst the
not really.
board here?
No, I have no comment. No comment.
Okay, last call for anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in regard to this application?
No, as long as she goes and gets all the approvals and you, what do you call it? CO and everything else, I don't think we'll have any problems.
Okay. can we have are we ready to vote on this?
Sure.
I'll entertain a motion for the type of action.
Make a motion type 2.
Second?
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Harden?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion whether we're going to approve or deny the application?
Approved.
I second.
Motion.
Motion to
Approve it.
approve?
Yes.
Second by Arnie.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Harden?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, your application's granted. You're welcome. The next and final application for this evening is that of Janet Lupinacci. This is an application for a special exception use permit to create an accessory apartment in a detached garage, as well as an area variance because the accessory apartment is larger than the 800 square feet. This is located in an R40 residential district at 159 Route 118, Yorktown Heights address. So if you could just give us your name and address for the record?
Nicholas Janet Lupinacci.
Okay, thank you. And could you briefly describe your application for us?
The property was bought by my grandparents, 1941. There was a pre-existing building, which is what we call the cottage. That's the building that we're talking about now. It was about 75% complete. My grandfather did complete it. In the early days, in the 50s, I don't know if Mr. Santoroni remembers, we used to use it as what they call the SYO, the Somers Youth Organization. Then, after that, in about 1964, I believe it was, Denise, I don't know, my mother's house burned down.
It was definitely in the 60s.
Yeah, in
around
the 60s. My parents' house burned down. They had it in the back house. And they were given permission to live in the cottage for a few years until it was fixed, and that was done by the local contractors, Rainey Adams, Danny Yanarella, Frank Kolak, and all the guys. We would just like to have it approved for rental, because in the year 2000, I was very sick. You know, I'm on disability now, because I'm a cancer victim. My wife is a cancer survivor. And it would be nice to have the extra income to take care of the taxes, because it is a large piece of property. We own 2 pieces of property there. And it's become a burden to keep, and I don't want to sell it, because from my grandparents to my parents to myself and my wife, we would like to then leave it to our children, and we have 2 grandchildren in the Somers system now, and leave it to them.
Because I did do a little research online, and it looks like this property is up for sale now.
The front part of the.
The front part of the property.
front part only.
The property that we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes, that's it, because if we can't do anything with it, we can't afford to keep
Can't
it.
afford to keep it.
That's one of the reasons why we'd like to have, if the board sees fit, have an approval, so we can keep it in the family.
Well, let me say this, just a couple of concerns I have right off the bat.
Okay.
Accessory apartments are supposed to be 800 square feet. This apartment is
1390.
1390 with the garage, 1210 without the garage.
Okay, well, I
So-
got 1,078 square feet without the garage.
I don't know, I'm just going by the architectural plans.
Well,
signed
I
off by
did
the
too.
architect.
That's Joel Greenberg's plans. I took the length and the width. I added them all up, and I come up with 1,078.2 square feet.
Let me say this, I mean, I'm
I'm not
looking.
gonna argue with you, sir. I'm just saying what I
Okay,
can.
I mean, I can only go off the plans.
Okay.
Okay, but even if it's 1,000 and something square feet.
It's over.
It's still significantly over. I mean, this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath requested accessory apartment, where, in my mind, this is not an accessory apartment, it's an accessory house.
Respectable, it's a bath and a half. It's not 2 baths.
Okay, a bath and a half, fine. I don't think I've ever seen an accessory apartment approved by us that had more than 1 bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen that. Also, this has to be in an R40 district minimum, which it is. And then last time, because this application or these applications were before us back at the end of 2017.
Yes, sir.
At that point in time, the two of you were residing on the adjoining property.
That's correct.
Okay, who was living on this property?
Right here, Janet Lupinacci.
So you don't live together? You live in
No.
separate homes?
No. Well, the houses are only about 100 foot apart.
Because in order for an accessory apartment to be approved, you have to reside on the property.
That's
Can you
true.
provide any proof of your residency on the property?
What proof do you need? We have bills, we have everything. Just please tell us what type of proof that you need.
Do you have a driver's license with that address on it?
No, I think we have P.O. Box 265. And that was one of the problems last time too, because we used a P.O. Box address in Baldwin Place for over 50 years. I'm a builder.
We don't have the mailbox outside of our property there. We never did.
I'm sorry, I'm not picking up. Can you go closer to the mic, man?
Talking
Just
to the
speaking
mic.
to the mic. He's,
Yeah,
the
talking to the mic.
cameraman is just trying to pick up your sound.
Sorry. We never had a mailbox in front of our house. We always used a P.O. box in Baldwin Place. My husband's been in business, and we didn't want our business mail delivered to the outside
the street.
mailboxes on the street.
Yeah, I just find it unusual that a husband and wife are living on different properties. That's-
Well, we live on the same property.
We
It's,
live on the same, we
It's
live on the
different
same
homes?
property.
yeah, there's two different houses there. So I use the front house some of the time,
And we get together once in a while too.
and I live in the front part of the property some of the time, and then when we have dinners and stuff like that for the holidays, then we're all in the back of the
And
property.
we also have a place in Myrtle Beach, in Florida, so we're down there part of the year.
All right, because I will say I'm a little confused, because you did say a moment ago it's two separate lots.
Yeah,
Now, 911, okay? And you have a sign out front that has,
That's for the cottage, and that's for the 911 number.
all right. Now, quite honest with you, to me, this is totally confusing here. I would love to do a site walk on a piece of property, because now it's getting even more so that you come across where one party lives in one building, another party lives in
We
another.
don't like to do that, sir, but according to the town rules and regulations, that's what you have to do in order to get an accessory apartment.
Okay, well, quite honestly.
So bring us
I would like to schedule a site walk if everyone
56,
agrees.
56 years we're married.
Okay?
yes. He
And,
wants to
you
schedule
know,
a
sort of
site.
clear some of this stuff
That's
up,
fine.
because now we have multiple surveys here. I would like to see, okay, one survey with everything. To me, this is one lot, to me, this is a second lot.
We got 3
okay?
lots on the
So I
multiple.
would like to have one survey of the entire parcel with all of the structures there.
I believe you have it there, sir.
No, to me, this is two separate things, okay? I have to say.
May I?
Yes, you may?
I think the way the property,
The subdivision that was done, should we build it? Francis Vitale, that was my grandmother. Okay? This is the parcel we're talking about. This is the two-family house. This is the rec room. In fact, they used to call it a recreation room because all the kids used to go there.
now, if I recall correctly, this two-family house was grandfathered in, and this was approved at our zoning board meeting in late
I
2017.
think this one was. Or the two-family also?
I think the
Yeah,
two-family, and then I think that there's an accessory apartment on this property.
Yeah, it's in the garage, above the garage.
Right. So this is a second accessory apartment that you want on the other property.
Separate piece of property.
Now, isn't there some house over here?
Where? On this
Over-
piece of property?
No, back in here. All I can, unless I'm getting confused with a neighbor.
There was a pool that was filled in. There was a pool at that time which was filled in. Is the house over here?
Now, where's the driveway in reference to this, please?
Right up here, right along the line.
Okay,
It's a shared driveway.
Yes, sir.
Shared driveway,
okay,
shared.
okay.
Piece of property. Yeah, we don't impact anybody.
The item that's listed as the one-story concrete block rec room, What is that currently used for?
I want to get the accessory apartment. I want to have people in there. I do have people in there. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, okay, so this is that's the building where this apartment is going?
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Okay.
So right now, it's being used in violation of zoning right now. That's what's really happening here.
Okay, so theoretically.
It's being used as what right now?
He has somebody living in
I
there.
have somebody living in there
Oh.
to try to get some income to keep the property. I just had a big fight with the, in fact.
Okay, sir, if you could go back to the microphone just so we can hear you. You could take this back with you, though.
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
So the house on I'm not as familiar, the house on the back of the property has a detached garage with an accessory apartment?
That's correct. If we're looking like this, in the
Yep.
back of the property, accessory apartment, house.
Yep.
Then there's a two-family house on the property we're looking at.
Yep.
And he wants an accessory apartment in the building.
building.
But as indicated, in my opinion, that's a huge accessory apartment.
And that accessory apartment is already constructed and lived in?
Apparently,
Yes, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, I just have to get the facts, yeah.
If I have to move the people out, I'm just going to sell the property and let the chips fall where they may.
now, when we.
And I don't
originally-
want to do that.
When we originally approved these plans going back at the late 2017, if I recall correctly, I think it was instructed that the stove be taken out of this concrete, this structure. So the stove was taken out, we didn't approve it at that point in time because there was no family relative living there.
I have all the paperwork for Mr. Centrella.
You know, I think one of the important things in the code is the code limits accessory apartments to 800 square feet. And the reason the code does that is that, in my opinion, the intent is that they don't want large, basically creating a second home. Sir, if you could just go back to
Oh,
the.
I'm sorry.
No,
I just
I'm aware of it, yeah, that's okay. Is that the town doesn't want, we're not turning this into multifamily homes. That's not what we're doing here. And like I said, you know, have a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath cottage. To me, that's really large. Plus,
Especially a garage.
yeah, plus, you know, I have to be honest, I think it's a stretch that the spouses are not living together and each is on a different property, so they get 2 accessory apartments. I don't know.
And once that front property is sold off,
And if the intent is to sell the property, to me, I think you're getting that to sell it. But if the property is sold off, new applicant has to come back, a new owner has to come back within 6 months and apply for the accessory apartment.
Variance for new people.
That's what they would have to do.
We're not asking for the variance
If anybody
for,
buys it.
for
that's up to
anybody
them.
buys
They
it.
don't wanna do
If we don't have to sell it, we're not gonna sell it.
Well, it's on the market right now.
But
I
it's
believe.
on the
It's
market
it
right
doesn't
now,
matter.
right?
We could take it off the market tomorrow. The point
Yeah,
is,
I'm
if
here
we,
77 years. I'd like
you know.
my family to be here another 70 years.
I mean, he's up here
Because
since
there's already,
nineteen
because, you know, there's
fifty-two.
already a 2-family house on this property.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a single-family, R40 residential district. There should be 1 home on each lot. That's what should be here. We've already got 2 families. Now we would approve a very significant accessory apartment if we were to approve this application. That's just my opinion. I'm 1 vote on the board.
And I respect that, but that building has been there since the late 30s, before my grandfather bought it.
Right. I'm not saying you have to tear down the building, but just what it's used for is the concern, so.
and that 2-family, was that, that's a legal 2-family per the code, or it was
Per the
varied?
code, technically, that could not be there. That was pre-existing grandfathered in. And we went through town council on that, and because it was pre-existing, it's always been taxed as a 2-family.
And I was paying taxes on it for many, many years.
It was approved as a 2-family. But,
So
so the code now would not allow that, obviously. Yeah, there's no 2 families in this area. The most you can have is a single-family home, and if you meet the requirements, you get an accessory apartment.
But a lot of
That's
this was done
that's not
before
supposed-
zoning.
I understand that. That's why you have that 2-family approved,
Yeah.
because it was prior to zoning
Yeah.
code. But, once again, one of the requirements for a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment is that it can't be more than 800 square feet. Have we approved apartments slightly larger? Slightly? But, you know, our job as a zoning board is always to approve the minimal variance possible. And that's assuming that an owner lives on the property.
So if this were to be approved, it would become essentially a three-family property in a one-family
Yeah, I have
zoning.
never, in my 15-plus years on the zoning board, I have never seen an accessory apartment approved this large. Not that I can recall.
Well, have you seen accessory apartments approved larger than the 800 square feet?
Very slightly, if any. Very slightly. As I say, the plans indicate with the garage 1390, without the garage 1210.
The tenants do not
It's
use
at
the
least
garage.
at least 50% larger. And here again, we still have to, I don't know what evidence has been provided that there's ownership here, that the owner resides on the property.
Well, I've asked you, you know, what would you like to prove that? We have all bills here under Janet's name, and I have all bills for my house, 163.
Whether
And
you're-
the 911 that
But
Mr.
whether you're a
Diane-
landlord or you reside on the property, the bills are gonna come to your name. So, I don't know that that proves anything.
Well, I'm asking
I
you,
don't know what
what,
other comments the board members might have in regard to this.
All right, do you have a driver's license that shows the residence?
no, as far as address goes?
I'm sorry?
As far as address?
You know,
Those-
are you sure your driver's license has a PO box? Because
Well, let me see.
I
No,
recall, I recall driver's licenses, I don't believe are
I don't
allowed
think
to.
they have an address on them.
I don't, no, driver's licenses have an address on them, but I do not believe a driver's license is allowed to have a PO box on it.
I don't think so.
I don't think it can. I think you have to have a home address.
P.O. Box.
So this would be for Mrs.
Well,
Lupinacci?
you say you don't believe that it has a PO box. There it is.
Okay, can I see Mrs. Lupinacci's driver's license?
Oh, I have it in the car.
Well, you want to go and get it then? If you have it in the car?
Whose name is on the deed to this property?
I'm sorry?
Whose name is on the deed to this property?
Mine.
Do you have the deed?
When my parents,
Sir, please go back to the microphone. We have to have everything documented. You have to, yeah, please stay over there.
when my grandparents passed away, it went to my parents. When my parents passed away, it went to myself and my wife. Based on our attorney, he passed away, Martin King, who's a familiar guy to some people on this board probably. He told us, put it in two separate names for estate purposes. That's why we did it. Not realizing that it's going to open up Pandora's box and everything else. We try to follow our attorney's advice. It's in my jacket, hon. Over here, the right pocket.
You can abstain.
But my license says clearly, P.O. Box 265, Baldwin Place, New York, 10505.
All right, thank you.
How many other people live on the property in total?
In total,
Yeah.
I have the two-family house rented, there's two and two. Two people and two people, one upstairs and downstairs.
And then,
There's two people in my house, my daughter lives downstairs. There's two, four, six, there's 7 people on a property the size of this.
so there's two separate tenants in the two-family house.
Yes,
There is one tenant in the accessory apartment above the garage in the back house.
that's a different piece of property now.
Okay.
See, the property was divided into 3 parcels.
So are you saying in the two-family house on the property we're talking about, there's 2 tenants in there?
Yeah, there's
Then
Two-
where does your wife live?
2 separate apartments. We have our own apartment in the downstairs apartment.
So there's 3 apartments in there?
Yeah, no, not 3. I mean, well, if you want to call it 3, we call it 2.
Well, sir, if you have, if you have 2 tenants, okay, thank you. If you have 2 tenants in that property, it's approved for,
So I'll
Two
evict,
tenants.
I'll evict the 2 tenants downstairs, Danny and Sandra. I'll evict them. They're month to month anyway.
I thought you needed the rent, the income. Why would you be evicting
Well, I
the
do need
tenants?
the income, but I can't get the income because I can get more money out of the cottage than I can out of the downstairs apartment.
But the suggestion is that in addition to the 2 tenants, your wife also lives in that home.
Yes, sir.
So that's a three-family then?
You ever live with your grandparents?
No, I understand, I'm not sure that's
That's the
relevant.
way we were raised. Myself, my brother,
So you have
my
other
parents, and
relatives
my
living in the
grandparents.
house? You
Pardon?
have other relatives living in that house?
No, not relatives, no, just me and my wife.
Well, you mentioned about your daughter a moment ago.
Oh, that's the back house, that's 163. There's a lot of confusion here, because we're dealing with one piece of property,
All
159.
right, well, let's just talk about the property on the application. It's a
Okay.
two-family home,
It's a two-family home,
which you rent out
yeah,
to two separate tenants
yeah,
who are not family.
no.
And your wife,
Well, they're like family, one of them is like family.
so in addition to those two tenants, your wife also lives in that house?
Yeah, we have a room in that house,
So they're with a separate entrance from the other two tenants?
yeah. It has a front entrance and a back entrance.
So it's being used as a three-family at present?
Well, however you want it,
Does
I
it
don't,
have is there three kitchens in the house?
if there's 10, no, there's two kitchens
Two
in the house.
stoves?
Nothing
That
has.
means it's 2 units, it's not 3.
Nothing has changed as far as the schematics go with the kitchens, the bathrooms, or anything, other than because of the zoning laws. Why can't we not reside in that house?
You can reside there, but it doesn't seem like you do.
We own it.
We own it.
Because-
mean you
but
live there.
Owning is not residing there,
Well, I'm just saying, we own the house, I could live wherever I live.
but you're not.
How do you,
How do you know?
are you calling us a liar? No, I'd like you to put that on record, that you're calling us a liar.
No, I'm basically calling you out because this is a two-family residence, and you say there are two people living there who are not either one of you. So if your wife is living there,
No,
in what apartment is she possibly living in?
I'm living in the downstairs apartment.
So it's a three-family house is what you're telling
It's
me?
not a three-family house.
It's a
Well,
two?
then how can two different people,
Well,
listen, I'm not gonna argue this point back
Well,
and
you
forth.
are, sir. I mean, and if you
I'm
have a
not gonna
two-family
argue
house,
this point. Listen, I don't believe you are giving us the full truth in regard to this matter.
well,
I'll
then
say
call,
straight out.
call me a liar and put it on the record.
Sir, you can
Put
say
it on the
whatever you
record.
want. I already have made my decision how I want to vote on this application. I'd like to hear from the other board members, and then I still want to go out to the audience in regard to this.
My concern would be, even if the owner was residing there, it's already a two-family in a one-family zone. This would essentially be making it a three-family property in a one-family zone. I understand the other one was grandfathered. If it's fully if there are two apartments which are fully rented, I don't understand how there's a third.
If it's a
entity
two-family
living in the
house, it's
house.
a two-family house. If you got four families
Maybe she
living there,
lives
what's
with
the
one of her
difference?
tenants. I find that a little bit hard to believe. So, but even regardless of that, to turn it from a two-family to a three-family, I would not be in favor of that.
It's not a three-family. You're calling it a three-family. Check the tax records, check everything. It's a two-family house.
A two-family house with another apartment, so three tenants on one property. That's.
But it doesn't make it a three-family house.
You're correct.
Six people
You're correct.
Six people happen to be living there instead of four.
You're correct. It's not a three-family property. I was just using that as an example to try to illustrate my point, that there would be three separate tenants on this property, that I would not tend to want to approve
Well, if you
that.
came from a big family and you had 10 people living in a house, does that make it illegal?
Sir, these are not members of the same family.
All right, quite honest with you, I would like to do a site walk because I'm, not a little confused, but a lot confused,
I understand that.
okay? Now, I understand where Victor's coming from, I understand where Tom is coming from. And if we have to go for a vote tonight, okay, based on what I'm listening to here, I would have to go along with denial, okay? I would like to postpone that until next month so I can do a site walk and physically see what's going on, talk one-on-one to give you a fair share and to get things cleared with my own
It's
personal.
absolutely fine,
That's what I'd
sir.
like to
With
do.
all due respect, we're going to be out of the state next month.
Well,
We-
no,
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
when we come back, I definitely will
No,
contact
I am
the
sorry, this has to be
secretary.
done before the next meeting.
Well, we already have reservations.
Well, this is how I feel and I'd like to,
You want to do it before next week? No, next week? That's fine.
But I am only one person that's requesting the site walk. It has to go along with the rest of the
I
plan.
understand that, but I thought, I just heard you say you want to do it, a site walk, like next month.
Within
But now-
the next 30 days.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't be.
Well, then I'm sorry.
Then we'll have to put it
then-
off
then
for
we
another
have to-
meeting.
Then we have to vote on it.
Well,
I'm prepared to vote.
I am too. I'm not nearly as confused. I understand you're trying to maximize your property. I understand that. But unfortunately, you're trying to maximize your property outside of the code, which says it's a one-family place. You already have two families because of grandfathering. I can understand that. But I can't go along with your living arrangements the way you have them. You're trying to turn a two-family, which is not in the code, is an exemption to the code, into a three-family. No, I'm not going to do that.
they call it a three-family because 6 people are living there, and we're not family, so to speak. You got to, in essence, you got to be family according to them.
I think what we're referring to is that there would be 3 separate apartments.
But if you're a husband and wife and you got 12 kids, that's okay.
Okay, what I think I'd like to do, is there any other questions right now for Mr. and Mrs. Lupinacci? I'd like to go out to the public, see if anybody else has any comments in regard to this.
It's fine.
Okay. Anybody here wish to speak in regard to this application? Any comments at all? Okay. Any further discussion amongst the board or any other questions of the Lupinaccis at this point in time?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know how the other board members feel about doing a site walk, but I would put
I
it.
would welcome that, sir.
Yeah,
I would
I'm
welcome
prepared
that.
to vote this evening on this matter. I don't know if
I'm
any members-
prepared to vote too. I really don't think a site walk would unscramble the family situation.
Anybody else want to do a sidewalk?
I'm prepared to vote.
Okay. Okay, so I don't think we have votes for a site walk, so I think we're going to proceed with a vote at this point in time. Sir, do you have any other comments at this point in time?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the type of action.
I'll make motion type 2.
Second?
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Harden?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
You can abstain?
Abstain, yes.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion whether we're going to accept or deny the application for a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment?
I'll make a motion to deny
I'll
the
second.
application.
I'll second it.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Harden?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Abstain.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye. I'm sorry, sir, the application has been denied.
That's okay. We'll see you again.
Okay, next, so that takes care of the matters on the agenda this evening. The last item we have is just approval of the November and December 2018 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes.
We can approve both by consensus if all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, minutes are approved. I'd like to let everybody know that our next meeting is February 19th, 2019 at 7:30 in this room, and that's the third Tuesday in February. Any other matters we have to discuss at this point in time? Any other pending matters? I don't think so. No? No. Okay, so that concludes this evening's meeting. Good night, everybody, and thank you.